Supreme Court doesn't establish a framework. Let's bring in Matt Larosiere, legal director of the Firearms Policy Coalition, to discuss. Matt, thanks for coming on. I know that you've handled litigation on gun cases, and you agree this lack of action causes confusion in the lower courts. Can you explain this for us?
Hey, thanks for having me. So the interesting thing here is that the various state, local governments, and even the federal government have gotten away with doing so much regulation, so many restrictions on a core right because it happened all of a sudden. There weren't that many Second Amendment cases before Heller, and that's not because the right wasn't there. It's because these laws didn't exist. They kind of amassed all of a sudden within the past 60 years. So that happened so quickly, there wasn't really a framework to analyze them. And so the lower courts were left with kind of, their hands open, and they just kind of allowed the legislatures to do what they would. Now the Supreme Court finally stepped in 2008, said, hey, there is a Second Amendment right, but don't announce a clear standard. So we didn't really see many laws get overturned after that. Again, that's not because those laws are unconstitutional, right? We're not trying to expand gun rights. We're trying to get them recognized. We're trying to get these governments to actually recognize the Second Amendment and say, you can't just take whatever you want. There has to be a framework. And it seems like the court is just unwilling to step in and declare what that is. And so these, often politically motivated lower courts view that as an opportunity and just allow the governments to do as they please.
Matt, I'm wondering what an example of some of these Second Amendment cases would be. I don't want to. Curtis Ellis is joining us as well. Matt, back to you though. I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have an example of some of these Second Amendment cases that have made their way so far that maybe the Supreme Court is refusing to hear?
Well, I mean, how much time do you have? Right?
I have a minute.
Everything that you can imagine, from assault weapons bans to whether or not you have a right to carry outside the home. I think it's pretty obvious that keep and bear means bear. And in fact, that's the case that the Justice Thomas was talking about there. It was a New Jersey saying you need to have good and substantial reason to carry a gun outside of your home, which effectively meant nobody could, right? Everything from assault weapon bans to where you can put a gun shop to where you can carry a gun are open questions as far as the lower courts are concerned, and so they've been making their way to the Supreme Court, and again, silence. Interesting.
Yeah, so and I appreciate you holding our hand, walking us through that. Curtis Ellis, I'll bring in Curtis Ellis.